Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Myles Sr, CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. I'm back in town. I know we've been on a hiatus from doing our show, but I want everybody to know the MFL is still here. We're kicking, although we're dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. I took my shots. It's not my place to tell people to go take it. Do what's best for you. Right now, the MFL is ready to go, but we have to wait on to the powers of be, the governor and them saying, they have to wait. We have been to several places, and right now they're talking about at the end of July, they'll open up, but that's not good for the MFL because most of our games playing there. But we got our co-host today on the show that I'm glad he's here. Keith, you're there with us, sir.
Of course, Doc. How are you? Good to see you. And for those who are a little less in the know, Doc was actually in Cleveland at the NFL draft scouting for the league. So for those of you that didn't get drafted, and for those of you in the play for HBCU, come on to the MFL because you've probably been overlooked in your talents and stuff. It is a hot button, and I just don't understand again, Doc, when we talk about that other league, whether it comes from the front office or from the league office or what it is, there's just a big disconnect with what quality of person should be selected in a draft or put as a head coach or administrator or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of that going on now with the draft being brought to light as well. So it goes on and on.
Absolutely. And it's good to have Keith Jones here. Keith in the media, been doing all the real big in the area and have done stuff around the league, around the country, should I say, along with that other league. And we're not bashing anybody, but it just strikes me strange that nobody was signed out of the HBCU. I mean, that's kind of, but then again, we just want these ball players to understand the MFL is here, although we are facing the same difficulty that most other business facing right now with the venues. Some of them is open and some not. So, but we want everybody to know the MFL is here. It's not because we're not prepared to go. We just have to wait for the powers to be to say when we can go in terms of when it's a time frame. Now, the time frame that they've given us so far is July. That's, we only have a 10-game schedule. July would not be good for the MFL, but we're going to try to get a few games in. Getting to you, Keith, help me to understand this, why so many these young players, and there's nothing wrong with dreaming. And I say that all the time, but sometimes you got to wake up from the dream. And the MFL, we want to give these young men an opportunity and a platform to play where you're not just sitting dormant another year. Why is it that it's still not resonating with them, Keith?
Well, that's a pretty good question there, because some people get it and some people don't. Just like the MFL, some people get the MFL and some people don't, and it's just a matter of understanding the process. Because even those guys that were signed to the MFL need to be working out daily. This is what guys who are pros in the NFL do all the time, because they know at any time they could be called up, and it's gotten more prevalent here in the last handful of seasons, because you never know when somebody's going down. The injuries over the last at least a couple of seasons mounted up very, very quickly, and really played a negative role on a lot of teams. They went further injury wise than they were expecting. And the players that come in, whether it's Taylor Heineke, who was in college, who was comes in to play for the Washington football team, has an impact, or whoever it is. If it's a guy like Kurt Warner who was bagging groceries, I mean, you have to be ready. Those are obviously two quarterbacks, but it doesn't matter to the position. And I think because having covered the NFL for a long, long time, it was different from the time that I started covering it to now, because for a long time it wasn't a year-round job. It certainly through the 80s and 90s, like kind of when you played and such, but guys understood that, yeah, the season is here, but in the off season, I have to still make it like a season. This is why a guy like Tom Brady can still play, but also play effectively at the highest level, because the guy prepares all the time, every day. He's preparing, for something football wise or otherwise, to keep himself in shape and such. And that's the thing that gets missed a lot of times, because you even see guys. Marshawn Lynch comes to mind. I mean, he's been out of shape more times in his career than a lot of guys have been in shape in their career. I mean, it's amazing to see a guy like that who's so talented, and just you hear that a player comes in overweight, or a player comes in out of shape, or he's not football ready. And this is what the NFL saw last year, because they weren't sure when the camps are going to go and when the season was going to start. And everybody has their timeline like the MFL does, but there are outside influences that influence directly. And when you're a league that plays in rented facilities, it makes it a lot tougher. And the NFL, obviously, they own their stadiums. The owners usually own their home stadiums, but still, you got protocol. We're still going through all this stuff. But be ready. That's when you get your call. That's a shot. It's the old Boy Scout motto: always be prepared.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that, because I also got a shout out to our GMs, especially Dave Glasgow up there with the Steelers in Texas, San Antonio, these GMs and Chuck Barlow down in Atlanta, down with the Georgia Warriors, and down in North Carolina, the Oilers, South Carolina Outlaws, and the Maryland Colts, and the Washington Chiefs, and and don't forget down in Tennessee, the Patriots. I want to just say, I hope one of our GMs got COVID, and I wish him a speedy recovery. But the GMs that doing, Mr. Lou Johnson up there in New Jersey, got a nice stadium up there, but they said we're going to only have 500 people in the big stadium. So that hurts us. In terms of what we're trying to do and getting people to look at this product. And the GMs are doing tremendous jobs up there in Houston, down in different parts of the country, up in, that the MFL have franchise. If we can't go in some places, it's going to look like when they ready to open up, that kills us. But some places we will go. The season just will be a little shorter, just like the NFL and the NBA. You have to play a shorter season. But we also have to pay attention to all the different protocols with this COVID-19 as well. Our guys we got to make sure they have their test. We got to make sure they have a test before they come in camp. And we got some great young men, and they ready to go. We're more prepared this year than we have been in a long time, as you know, Keith. We had it all out, the schedules and everything ready to go, and people are excited about it. The only thing, I get calls all the time, Dr. Myles, this COVID thing, what are you guys going to do about it? I said, we can get 4 games in, we'll be happy. But we still have next year. I just want to say to these GMs, they're doing a fantastic job, and we're excited for them and the things that they're doing. And we just, it just strikes me as it seemed like, you're there, but yet and still this COVID-19, I mean, is people really not doing what they're supposed to do? And that's what strikes me odd. I mean, why people just can't follow protocol.
No, not everybody follows laws or rules or whatever it is. And that's an issue. That's, an issue on the field, it's an issue off the field, and it's an issue in the community. It's, some people just don't like to be told what to do. They don't like directives and such. So it depends on the part of the country that you are dealing with. I don't know what Cleveland was like, but when I was in Tampa recently, it was interesting. Of course, I just went to meetings and went directly to where I was staying with some friends, so I didn't expose myself to the outside very much. But always wearing the mask when you had to. But I was the minority far and away, that more than I was the majority as far as the mask was concerned. So it just depends on where you were. How did you like the setup for Commissioner Goodell and everything going on in Cleveland?
Well, I mean, it was. I think they did a great job in terms of what they had to do and try to follow things. Even though it was in that opening area, you see a lot of people wasn't wearing face masks. I'm just going to tell you that. And, and some people, they feel like, I don't want to wear it and you can't make me wear it. It just, and then it have to be fearful myself. I'm a little older. But I mean, I think it was good. The draft was pretty nice. I don't know about the hugging part of it. I just think that was a bit much because, you have to protect both parties. We don't know what, not saying the commissioner had none of the players, but you never know. I think that was a little extreme. I know when we do ours, I'm not hugging nobody. I'll do the bump arms and stuff, and the guys will appreciate that. Ball and all that, I think it was nice. The draft didn't surprise me. None who was taken. I know it didn't surprise you. None. It went the way I expected it to go. I thought Fields would go a little sooner. But then again, they're always making deals and stuff. A lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scene. The different deals are being made. They're just looking at who's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's really not like that with the trades and stuff. But it was exciting, similar to the Super Bowls that I attend every year. But, I was up there to see what I could do for the MFL. So I'm going to just be honest, I'm talking to people, I'm handing cards out and stuff. So it was pretty good for me. It gave me an opportunity to get an opportunity to talk about the MFL. And whenever I get an opportunity to do that, I'm going to seize that opportunity. You know me. But I'm also, I just want people to know the MFL ain't going nowhere. You can, we might have canceled some combines, but we got some get ready to go on this weekend down in North Carolina, the Orleans. South Carolina, we gonna in tennis out there in Texas, the Steelers. So because the last week they had to cancel because of the rain. I mean, it's just you can some things you just can't control. But I just want to assure people that the MFL is here. We can go, but being very mindful of this time that we in age, and I want to protect the players as well, the coaches and everybody involved with the MFL. The football is not that important. We would like to get it on, and as the owner and founder of the league, I can assure you, if we able to get 3 or 4 games in, we're gonna do it. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. We just, I just feel bad in terms of, as you can see, they signing some heck of a ball players. I think I was sending them to you, these big guys. I'm like, why we can't have guys like that up in DC, big guys like that in the Mid-Atlantic division? I mean, down south, they got them big old guys, man. but and the guys are cited, and they understand the uniqueness of the MFL. And it's something we was trying to explain to people, a lot of people. I'm glad that Dion came out and spoke publicly about that, but it's something been going on for years. It ain't nothing new. He get a firsthand taste of this. He never had been a product of an HBCU, nor did I, but I can understand when people don't get the opportunity they should get. And now and then with him being there, it makes it a little more vocal in terms of people can hear and kind of look that way now. And as you know, they get ready to hire some former players at these schools. And I think it'll shine a little more light on it, Keith, but it won't make any difference too much. That's just my opinion.
Well, there's a multi-layer to that now, because I mean there have been some great HBCU players, including the greatest wide receiver,
running back.
So these guys are there. They're just not getting the exposure. And on top of that, if you look at the NFL draft, it's like 400 guys. Less than 400 guys are taken. That's like, if you add up everything, Alabama's got like 70 guys that are suited up, right? I mean, that's at the program. But if you take 40 players, and that's 10 programs is 400. So you got so many more. You have hundreds of programs that are out there that have talent, and these guys just don't get drafted. Now there have been some HBCU signings to bring them into camp, and even though they didn't get drafted, doesn't mean they won't make the team and things like that. So the draft is a bit of a misnomer. They've kind of made it almost like a dog and pony show these days.
Absolutely.
The way it's orchestrated and such, and it's interesting to watch. I watch more for who the guys on television say is going to get picked that don't get picked, versus the guys who actually do get picked. Because there's no question. I mean, if you and I wanted to be a general manager in the NFL or a general manager or head coach or a scout and go out, and because you've done this, I know as well. You could do that. You just go out and you watch all the games and you see the players of impact and such. So I mean, the picking 400 guys is not, I don't say easy, but it's pretty easy. And then there's obviously you're going to have more than 400 guys who could get drafted, and that's what it is. So there's so much talent out there, and that's where the MFL comes in, because whether it's HBCU or whether it's a Division II school or FBS, FBS or whatever it is, they still have an opportunity to play professional sports. And maybe that's the springboard. As I mentioned a little bit earlier about all the injuries that have gone over the years, I don't know if that's going to turn around. I hope it does, because I always hated to and still hate to see players get injured being off the NFL track. But it happens. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of the game. If you come out unscathed, you're very, very fortunate. If you can play more than a handful of years, you're fortunate. Anything beyond that, you're blessed. And guys like Tom Brady, I said this before. I saw Darryl Green play and watched him, and he played for the team formerly known as the Redskins for 20 years. I said, guys just aren't going to be playing for 20 years. Brady's one of those just misnomers, if you will, just an exception. And a guy that knows how to make moves, because if he's still in New England, he would have gotten beat up like Cam Newton did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now Kyle Trask has been drafted by Tampa Bay. There's a lot of talk. Is he the franchise quarterback and that's coming? I tell you what, Kyle's got to be so happy, because he's going to get to be mentored by one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback to ever play the game at the highest level. So Kyle's got to be super excited in that standpoint. And then in New England, they ended up drafting. They got a great pick for a quarterback. They didn't even trade up to get him, and they're going to be very, very happy. A guy because Belichick knows how to work with quarterbacks, and they've got a good system in place and stuff. So it's going to be the NFC East is going to be interesting, but the AFC East is going to be very interesting this season in the NFL. But that's what you have. So are there other quarterbacks that are really good? Yes. Well, are they draftable? They didn't get drafted. That doesn't mean that they don't belong on an NFL roster. But if not, you could come and be on an MFL roster and get your reps in, get your continued education that way on the field, and see what happens. Maybe the call comes in because quarterbacks go down as much as just about as much as any other player.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on what you say, I got a couple of things I'm gonna throw your way. You're right. The Power 5 conference alone can fill the NFL draft up, which leaves everybody else out. Secondly, I was going to ask you, I'm just curious to see, are they going to give these seniors another year? Now, I think that's going to be like a catch. That's going to be kind of dicey there, because now you're talking about a guy going to be a little older. Then you talk about the guys that now they're going to be seniors come out. I'm wondering, do that work to? I think it'll work to the student, the athlete advantage. You get to play another year, you get to go to school free, you get to, you know what I mean, and work on another degree if possible. But I'm just curious that just want to hear your take on that. Good move or no?
Well, the NCAA is doing it for basketball, which is hit and miss. A lot of guys have entered the transfer portal now without having to sit out a year. It's become a free for all. In the NCAA, from the football standpoint, I would say it's good for the programs and good for the player, because there's some guys, and you know this because you played as well. There's some guys that think they're better than they are.
Yeah.
And there's some guys that don't realize how good they are. So sometimes the guys who think they're really, really good and don't get picked, it gives them an outlet to continue to play and hopefully complete a degree or get a master's or whatever the case may be. Because guys come out way too early these days, and they always come out. So again, when you're limited, you've always said, Miles, it's a numbers game. And the NFL is no different than any other corporation or what have you. There's only so many slots, so many roster spots, and that's just how it is. So even though you don't get drafted, doesn't mean you won't be playing in the NFL. Somebody gets missed all the time. But also, just because you get drafted, and I've seen this so many times, the high draft picks, a lot of times don't even stay in the NFL for more than a couple of seasons. It's really sad, but that's just what happens. But that's why you've got to stay on top of your game. You've really got to put the time in as a person and as a player, and that's why I think like a kid coming out of North Dakota State University. I think these kind of players are students of the game, and even though they went to a smaller program, watch out, because once they get the playbook under their belt and they start to absorb what's going on around them, they're just natural. There are natural athletes. There are also natural football players. Both those not being the same thing. Sometimes you get a natural athlete who's a natural football player, so then you're doubly blessed as far as a coach or staff goes. But that's what you're dealing with. So the way things shake out, it's going to be very interesting in the NFL and for the MFL. It's going to be interesting too, because again, there are some slots available. Even if it's a limited season, at least you're getting reps.
Absolutely. And then next year you're going to definitely have the whole season. But getting back to the NFL draft, the quarterback from Alabama, he had to be blessed because he's a system type of quarterback, and that's something New England need. We know he's very limited in talent wise, but what Belichick will put around him, along with the general manager, I mean, it would be it couldn't be a perfect situation for him.
Yeah,
he was taken in the first round, which I never thought he should have won the first round at all. But I'm just thinking that it's a perfect situation for him, and I know he is excited about being where he's at, and it just fit like a puzzle.
And there's a prime example. That's a great point you just made, because I think that Cousin Mac is going to do very well with under the Belichick system, as well as a controlled offense, and it's fine. It doesn't make any difference because he's in a situation where he doesn't have to throw long passes.
Right.
You can play to his skill set. That's why I know that the Coach Belichick was super excited to get Mac, and it makes total sense because he's a prototypical kind of quarterback, but he really is a quarterback for a system with a lot of longevity, coming from a big time program. So, think about this. I believe the guy has a national championship ring, and I believe he was the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So he may have some limited skills, but the guy still has skills and enough to be taken in the top 20. And again, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. It's it does money wise.
As long as you get in there.
But it's
the main thing.
And that's more of a guarantee of getting in than signing a contract after the draft and being invited to camp and things like that. But we've seen players emerge all the time, and I'm super happy for Jake Funk. I mean, he got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams. I'm very, very interested to see what Sean McVay is going to do with Funk, because I know Jake plays special teams and return kicks and everything, but the guy can be a very surprisingly effective running back. So having him in that McVay offense, again, it depends. If you are a good fit in a company, you blossom, and if you're not, you don't flourish nearly as much. So sometimes you flounder even. It's just so it just depends. So guys, and I think that's from cousin Mac. I think that that's why New England picked him, and gladly so. They need a quarterback. No knock on Cam, but Cam Newton is not the guy.
No,
and again, as much as I respect and like Cam Newton, his time is coming to his chapter.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's, you have to look at those kind of things, and that's why you get guys like that in. And could Mac Jones be the franchise quarterback for the New England Patriots? Absolutely. Could something go sideways? Absolutely. That's part of the fun of watching. But the same token, this does put New England back on the map. And again, as I mentioned, I think the AFC East is really going to be perhaps the conference.
It's going to be bottleneck there.
Because you got Buffalo, who's geared up. They had an excellent draft. Miami couldn't have more picks if you wanted to. And Flores has done a nice job coaching down there. And it goes right down, New England's retooled, and you never can forget any of the other teams that are in any of the divisions, because on any given year, it's just, you don't know, but it's always good to see when teams have good drafts and stuff, and then move from there. But that's, it's about the players, and that's what the MFL is about. It's about the players. It's about the development of the players, and it's also about the opportunities that are presenting to the players, to the staff, and to management.
Absolutely. And I also want to reach out to these HBCUs. We have franchises in your area. You young men can play, get your skills together. You want reps. You need that. You quarterbacks need to be out there. You linemen, you defensive backs. I'm saying to people, and we don't just want HBCUs. We want anybody. We just want to say to you, we're giving you an opportunity that you do not find outside of college or professional ball. We just, that's what we are. We are the MFL. The MFL is a minor league system that we want to give people an opportunity that you don't necessarily find outside of college or professional football.
Right, and I think that's the most important part of the whole thing. Besides it being laboratory of change, I think that the fact that the opportunity is there for those that want to, and because your opportunity didn't come with the NFL. Maybe you do get invited to camp, but what are you going to do in the couple months before camp comes? It's a matter of July is going to come pretty quickly, but at the same token, you got to be ready. And I think a lot of these guys that come out of college early, and they haven't matured quite to the point of where they will get to. It's a hindrance. I mean, it's really a situation where they have to grow into themselves, and sometimes there's guidance and leadership around for them, and sometimes there isn't. I mean, I've seen so many top ranked draft picks come out and just not be with the team that drafted them or in the league at all a couple seasons later. So, you know, it's just, you have to understand your situation. You have to take advantage of that opportunity, and it starts with yourself.
Absolutely. And, you know, even for coaching opportunities that's here, we have not an opportunity for trainers, opportunities, sports management. You know, the laboratory of change means the laboratory of change. We give people an opportunity to do what you give you an opportunity to develop your skills. You know, we're a developmental league. And I just, you know, I have to keep saying it. I don't want to say I'm beating a dead horse. You know, you young men, if you're watching this broadcast, or if you go to our website, MFLishere.com, if you go to our all the things that we are doing in the MFL. I mean, we have people like Keith that been in media for years and cover. This is a great opportunity here. And I'm not saying it because, you know, I'm the founder of the league, but, you know, we want to give these guys an opportunity. You think about what the MFL is doing and look at the track record. You know what I mean? We've been here. And, you know, ironic enough, you think about, Keith, we survived all these different things that thrown at us. We had to deal with the Lions Football League. We had to deal with the XFL come back. We had to deal with the COVID-19 last year. We're dealing with it again. But I want people to know we still here. Our guys are out there. Our GMs, our coaches doing a great job. These guys are out there doing a tremendous job. And, you know, we want guys to come in, give an opportunity. We'll make sure you get that opportunity. And you look at the size of these linemen, Keith. Look, you see the size of these kids? 6'7", 305. That kid ain't had no fat on him. You know, you look at these big guys, man, and they so humble, and they like, we just found out about this, Dr. Myles. What's close to us? And you're willing to go. But I'm telling all of them that, no, you go to the franchise in your area. Of course, the other GMs, they like, you know, send them to us. You know? But we're excited about it, the MFL. The MFL really, you know, we want people to understand we're the laboratory of change. And right now we got 5 different companies want to screen the games. And what I like about it, they say, don't worry, Dr. Myles, we don't care how many games you play. We want to screen those games. You know, if you get 4, we'll take 4. You know, so it just goes to show you that, you know, we like a bad habit. We just hang around. You know, we're not going nowhere. And I just want to reassure people that we did cancel some combines because, like I say, we still have to follow all the protocols. And when we tell guys to take a test before you come, we want to see that. You know, don't come in up in Texas. We had a lot of guys had to just sit out and because they didn't do what we told them. It's right there. You have to fill out the form. You got to bring us something that you had a COVID prior to coming to the combine. And they just, you know, and I don't think they did it purposely or, you know, facetiously. I think that they were so excited about coming, they forgot. But they did not realize that we're going to be sticklers to do the right thing. You can't show us this, then you can't get out there, because we don't need nobody saying we caught COVID from an MFL combine or something. And like I said, they did a great job. Matter of fact, we put some of the stuff up because we want to be very transparent. The amount of guys, we didn't care. If we had 300 guys there, we had 25 guys. Doesn't matter. We let people know this is going on. This is where we're at around the country. We're not just talking, saying here. We want everybody to see it. That's why I say, Keith, thank God for social media, right? Thank God for we can show them combines. But I think now, hopefully, these young men understand this is a good thing. You know, this is something we're trying to do to get these guys ready. This is something we're trying to give these guys an opportunity that you don't find outside of college or professional ball. You know, one kid called me. He said he's coming down from Virginia. He's a quarterback. You know, we want you to get that opportunity. You know, call us. You know, you don't have to be afraid. Our website is MFLishere.com. We're on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We on all these social media, so you can get in contact with us. We on Facebook. You can contact any one of the team franchises that's in your area. We really want you to stay in your area. You know, as bad as the other GMs said, don't worry about it. You stay in your area. We don't want you traveling way somewhere for 4 or 5 hours, you know, because we want you there. And we're going to do some great things. And we've been around for a long time for a reason. I always say documentation be conversation. And you know, you can Google us. You can pull us up. We here. We're not going nowhere. We're just trying to want people to understand that we here. It's not that we folded down or anything. Keith and everybody else know me in MFL Nation. If we can go with some few games, we're going to go. You know, it's just simple as that. We're going to go because we want these young men to get an opportunity. We want family members and stuff, see these guys finally at home, getting an opportunity to play for the home franchise, Keith.
Well, you know, and it only takes a little bit of film, you know, we still call it film, but that's the whole thing. Maybe these guys don't have a resume tape. Maybe they just weren't
get it here.
They just weren't seen. I mean, I love the story where you sign this big lineman and his dad's all excited and his brother at a big school and this guy couldn't be happier to be a member of an MFL team and get the opportunity. And that's again going back to the word opportunity. That's what it is. You need to be seen. That's what I tell parents who ask me. That's what I tell prospective college players that ask me. You need to go someplace that you're going to be seen playing the game, not on the sideline. You know?
Absolutely, out of sight, out of mind.
Be a third stringer at Alabama or the starter at North Dakota State University. Well, you take the pick, but apparently North Dakota State University has become pretty popular for handpicking players from that school. So it's, you know, whether it's Coastal Carolina or where it is, wherever it is, that's the big thing. So if you can't get into the NFL right now, it doesn't mean that the MFL can't be your gateway. And maybe you don't even think about getting to the NFL from the standpoint of, you know, you just want to do it, play football on the side, so to speak. We know that doesn't really exist. You can be the full all the way in, fully committed. But to that point, some guys just love the competition, and they may never make it into the NFL, but they want to play football.
Absolutely, and we have franchises. You know, 16 franchises here, and believe me, Africa waiting for us, but we can, you know, they have to wait because of what's going on with this COVID-19. But you know, we have that Southern Division down there. You know, the North Carolina Order, South Carolina Outlaws. You know, we also have down in Tennessee the Patriots down there, the Georgia Warriors, the Florida Bears, the Florida 49ers. Out there in Texas, we got the Houston Rams, San Antonio Steelers. We got East Texas Cardinals. Oklahoma, we have the Cowboys. Louisiana, we have the Packers. And up here in the Mid-Atlantic, you have the Washington Chiefs, the Maryland Colts, the New Jersey Raiders. You know, we up in Philly, we have the Saints. So we're excited. We also have the Chargers. And right now, because of what's going on up there with this pandemic, even if we move them, then we will. But, you know, these franchises in your area, you don't have to come a distance unless some guys just want to come a distance and play. But we encourage the guys to stay in your area. That way you don't have to worry about getting somewhere to stay and all that. You're at home, and then giving your family members an opportunity to see you play. And also, we want to reach out. You know, we have our apparel. You know, as you know, each team has their own apparel. We have to thank our company. You know, that we did the deal with in the UK. You know, we're excited about all the things that we're doing in the MFL. And you know, we just want people to come experience what we're doing. We want these young people to have an opportunity, even people, as you know, Keith, you talk to interns want to come in and work on the media side of it, you know, from Bowie State, a nice young man. We have people, we're going to give you the opportunity. And under Keith Tulich, that it just shows you somebody that been there and did that with all his experience, and it's something you want to get into media because it's not easy. Keith, I know you want to go ahead and expand on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, you talk about social media. I'm not personally big on social media, but it does hold a value, especially when you're talking about exposure or doing shows like this and such. And the social media platform is really good for leagues as well. So we're going to obviously do a lot of Instagram stuff and a lot of, so we're still formulating. I'm talking with the head man in the blue shirt as we speak about how we want to proceed forward on that. But that's, somebody these days that's coming out of college is so well versed in social media because that's what they've grown up around.
Right.
Like if they're without their phone, it's like they lost one of the appendages from their body. So
yeah,
where it's at right now. But that's also great because it's a good platform for those who want the information, who know it's readily available, and will seek it out. So that works out well for the MFL.
Absolutely. And, like I said, I want to thank these coaches in the MFL. They're doing a great job. They're working, tirelessly, getting things together. And like I said, we're going to be ready, whatever it is. Or we definitely still going to be signing players. If we have to carry on to the next year, at least we will have, the guys that we want to sign, and we have enough guys to compete for a position, because we want to sign 60 players per roster because it gives us some room, because we do play in the summer. I'm just a little, maybe I won't say a little mad, because you can't, it's nothing you can do about, I mean, this is just God's. I tell everybody God's in charge, you know what I mean? So what happened was meant to happen. So it's nothing we could do about it. I mean, we're not, we can't see in the future. We don't know how this thing gonna go. Hopefully that everybody will pay attention and take the shots or do what you need to do. If you gotta wear face masks, be very mindful of, you might be doing the right thing, but you never know what that next person that's standing talking to you or passing you on the street is doing. Or you out and you see all these people out, no face masks, and don't get comfortable and pull it off, but they ain't got no more. Those are people you don't see no more for whatever reason. You might not come in that area again, or they might catch this thing, and this thing is really dangerous, Keith. But also I want people to understand that this is the laboratory of change, and I know we dwell on that, we talk about that a lot, because it is. And when you look at this, we are the only minor professional football league in the country and over in Africa. And we're excited over there. We're having great talks over there. They can't wait till we get there. But they are aware of what's going on with this traveling. And even when I travel, I was a little nervous. I'm gonna be honest. One plane we got on didn't have a lot of people on it. That made me nervous. Wait a minute. Well, then the next plane was packed. You know what I mean? So I think people have to get used to it. Hopefully everybody did what they need to do. I know I took my final shot and it made me sick. I mean, I was down for the weekend. But for me, just to be on the safe side, I always say it's better to have it, not need it, than to need it, not have it. That's just my motto. And I just, hopefully people understand that if we're going to move around in this environment and, doing the things that we're doing, we have to protect ourselves. If they don't want to protect themselves, you have to protect yourself. And if you're around younger kids, because I have 17 grandkids, go all the way to young ages, and I want to feel comfortable in being around them, knowing that I did what I need to do to make sure they don't catch nothing. And hopefully, they catch something, they don't give it to granddad. You know what I mean? So, but these are some of the types of things that we are dealing with. But there's no pressure on the MFL at all, whether we finish the season or not, because everybody's not blind. They see what's going on just like we are. I mean, we see what's going on And some things we can do, some things we have control of, some things we don't. That's like you doing a story. You can control the narrative on that. We can't control the narrative on what we're doing as far as the MFL and what we're doing.
Yeah, but the MFL is still here. The XFL, not so much. And we know about the alliance as well, and it just speaks to the volume of commitment from the powers that be, including yourself, at the MFL, and not giving up on players and not mailing it in, and keeping everybody together and keeping everybody on board, on the same page, if you will, about what's going on with the league. And it makes a huge difference as far as people wanting to be involved, people seeing what's going on, and then moving forward from there. Because as you said, I mean, right now it's the wild west. You don't know who's going to open what, when it's going to open, and it's really sad from one standpoint. It's kind of intelligent from another standpoint, but it's uncharted territory, and anytime you got to sail safely, because if the world were flat, you would sail off. But and these days, I kind of feel like the world is flat. That's that's kind of where that is. But it's a level playing field, and we just have to take a wait and see approach to it. And I feel really bad for you, leading, because you're leading the charge, and you've got things in place, and you've got the protocols, you got everybody ready to go. General managers all the way down to players, and the facilities say, "Oh, we can't do that." After they've committed and such. So, I'm sure, not to speak for you, but I'm sure you have these stop and start moments on a regular basis. And you scratch your head and you wonder, and you start to question, and different things like that. But
if it was easy, everybody be doing it. I always say, that's the great thing about this. But we also want people to understand that we have challenges like everybody else. I mean, because we're a minor professional league, that don't mean everything is smooth for us. But we want want to assure people that we are here, support us in any way you can, be it through our apparel. But like I say, you're hearing it from me. If we can go, we will go. I don't care how many games we can grab. We want people to experience what the MFL doing. We want we like the excitement that it brings. I know we're not even in the studio, Keith. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that we're not in the studio. And I don't know when we're gonna go back in there. Keith, when they.
I don't know, Doc, and that's been the painful part for me, having gone from reporter to more of an anchor and a host, more specifically of late. But that's why I have this fancy wallpaper behind me, and and the fake set and stuff. Because I don't know, it's a different way of doing business these days. It's a different interview type and such. And moving forward, I hope we can get away from the Zooms of the world. But in the meantime, at least we're able to do things like this and getting the information out. That's the important part. You try to look good on camera and do what you can do. But from the standpoint of material, that's the most important part. And that, bringing it full circle, what you're talking about, using social media and streaming games, at least like to see some of the games get on television. But, again, everything is a process, and everything is a work in motion. So we'll see how that comes together. But, again, doing this show with you, I appreciate the opportunity, but also just to be able to talk football, and, even though we're not, in a physical studio or in the same studio, that type of thing. But hopefully one day soon we'll be able to do that. But this has to do in the meantime. And technology has actually been pretty good for the last year and a half and such. And it's allowed people to still be able to communicate or get information or do shows like this. So I'm appreciative of that, at least.
Oh, great. We're glad to have you. But, when you think about it, all the different, you as a journalist and stuff, it's kind of difficult for you because this is the norm. We want everybody to know that, this is the norm. And when I hear people say, well, I'll wait till everybody get back to normal. things are never going to be back as it used to be normal. This is the norm. So, and when I say that, to say, why is it, people keep talking about get back to normal? What, this is it. As a journalist, how do you navigate your way to, doing things differently?
Well, I've been fortunate to have made some great connections and contacts and relationships over the years. So I can usually, and I've been a big phone guy over the years anyway, I can usually pick up a phone and talk to somebody or get through to whoever I need to, and then facilitate it from there, whether I have to do an audio interview or whether I do something like in this kind of platform and such. We're able to do it. People are much more receptive and also I would say more used to having this kind of platform, because you're not doing a lot of face-to-face stuff, and I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of doing an in-person interview with an 8-foot long mic pole. So you do what you can do or what you have to do and such, but that's and in our own studios we don't have to wear the masks, so
right.
that makes it better that way. So it's been an adjustment process. I don't want to say it's been a learning process. I mean, technology is kind of cut and dried in what it is, but everything's a learning process. And if you're not learning, you're not living. And so you have to do what you have to do, is one of the mottos I live by. And that's just how it is these days. But I'm with you. Back to the way it once was, it probably will never be again.
No.
We'll just, but people will think that, and they do think that, and that's how you get into dilemmas that you get into, because it's too much too fast.
Absolutely. And it just tickled me when people say that, and I just look at them and I say, this is the norm. This is normal. This is going to get. But more importantly, people begin to understand. We've been through some rough times with this. And I know I lost a lot of friends, personal friends, to COVID-19. I've been to too many funerals, more than I would ever want to see again. But it just goes to show you this is deadly. This is something that we have to take serious, and we have to pay attention to what we're doing. Because we don't want people to think that this is over, by no means stretch of imagination, because it's not. We just want people to be safe and do the things that they need to do to protect themselves and their loved ones, And like I say, I'm not going to advocate and tell nobody take a shot. That's not my place. I'm saying do what's best for you and to make, you safe and your family members. But as far as I'm saying, one way or another, I would never do that because it's not my place to do it. But I'm just saying to people, I want you to be safe. It's very important that you be safe out there. And, we want to hang around as long as we can. You know what I mean? I'm breaking the record. I'm over halfway now, So by the help of the Lord, we here. But I want to give all these young men and young ladies, also we want y'all to know that if you are interested in the dance team, you can still register. And if we get an opportunity, we can do a dance team trial. We will be doing it right now. They closed down a lot of things. Surprisingly, here in DC, a lot of rec departments they was using for shelters. So it's just a lot of things that's different. And we want people to understand that we're trying to do things and follow all the procedures that you're supposed to do. And we don't want to try to force anything. We want to stay in the guidelines of the COVID protocol, but we would like to get, going. But we'll just take our time. As I say, we'll act like Ray Charles and feel our way until we get an opening in it. But, I want to thank you, Keith, for coming on as usual, man. A wealth of knowledge in terms of sports. And, we'll talk about all of it inside the MFL. So, I want everybody to offer all the GMs in the MFL. You're doing a great job, and your coaches and your staff. I will reach out. We will go when we're able to go to MFL Nation. We're not going nowhere. We here. You know, we just waiting to come out the starting blocks. You know, we just ready to go. We just, you're holding us back. We're ready to go. But we have to be very mindful of safety. It's very important. In closing, you have anything, Keith?
No, I just, stay the course and everybody just stay ready. And that's the big thing. Always stay prepared, especially for the players. I want you to I can't reiterate enough to, be ready to go when your opportunity is there. You signed on the line. That's the start of it. So hopefully you're, when the camp start and then we get into the season, your top notch level of performance is there for you, and that's the key, because that's when you show what you have, and that's it. But we get through it. We do it what we have to do every day to do it, and we just keep doing it.
Absolutely. This has been another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., along with Keith Jones. We'll see you on Friday. Take care.